Good night, everyone. Tonight, God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Simon J. Spiritual. I'm here to give you a show news and a word on tonight. We're gonna start with she laid down the law. Legal expert on Fani Willis first in response to Jim Jones Jordan. So Fulton County DA Fani Willis, had released, a response to the House Jurisdiction Committee Chairman Jim Jordan decided to investigate, her investigation. Now this and more legal development, surrounding the indictment of Donald Trump, former Donald Trump, and other allegedly in his analyzed by our expert guests. So now we see that Miss Willis on top of her game, and doing her job, development on multiple all involving the many criminals. So Georgia, attorney, for Trump today notified the judge presiding over his criminal, Rex Stearns case that he may seek to moor his state case to federal court. Fulton County District Attorney Miss Willis is providing once again, that she is a woman, to making things happen, and standing against anything that come in her way. Now, a letter that was written that she laid down the law legal expert that know the law and respond to Jim Jordan. So we see she know what she doing. You know, she know what she doing. She don't and she moving in fearless. And she not backing down. And they figure because she's a woman, that they're gonna keep on balking and that she's gonna pull down. But you see that she's still standing and she's still doing her job. And she's an expert and she know what's to pull out, and she know what to say. So just Fannie Williams. So I do have a word on tonight. And there's gonna be many books on Esther. Really want to get to the table concern, but I like to do the background so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So the first book gonna come from Esther chapter 3, 1 through 5. Haman plot to destroy the Jews. So this story is why Haman want to impair, Mordecai, and kill all his Jewish people, but the table will turn at the end. So we also will see, how Esther was stepped in by giving King a request to save her Jewish people. When her cousin told her not to tell no one that said she was Jewish unless it's really in mercy. Now this gonna be a case that she really gonna have to step forward and tell the king her background history. So Esther is a new queen. She lost both of her parents, but her cousin Monica, raised her. Her cousin Monica was the one who entered her in a beauty pageant. So Mordecai told Esther never to tell no one that we both are Jews. So after this event, King Zerline, honored him and elevate him, and giving him a seat of honor, higher than anyone else. So all the royal officials at the king gate kneel down. See, they honor Haman and everyone is kneeling down, paying him honor to Haman, for the king had commanded his concern of him. But Mordecai, Esther's cousin, he would not kneel down or pay him any attention. So Mordecai's determination came from his faith in God, to have courage to stand alone. Because see, sometimes when you know what's right, sometimes you have to stand alone. Not because what somebody else, is doing, is what you feel is right. So sometimes, doing the right thing, sometimes it causes not to be saved, you know. But we saw, but you have faith in God, He will come through. We saw how the three guys, in Daniel, sometimes you be honest and you tell the truth, it still get you in danger, but you have to have faith in God that He will pull you out, you know. That He came and rescued them three guys in that burning flame. He came and rescued Daniel that was in that lion's den. They were standing on their ground. Them three guys refused to bow down. Daniel refused to stop praying. So Haman is an Ammonite. Mordecai is a Jew. That they must, not pay respect to Haman, who is an Ammonite. So the Jews and Ammonites, they all were fighting against one another. They hated each other. So the Jews never bowed down to the Ammonites. And guess what? They is kin. That's Esau's son. Made this battle, made a separate nation from their own people once they separated, once they got out of Egypt. So Mordecai know Haman is an Ammonite. So that's why he refused to back down. He know who he was. That's why he refused to back down. Royal official at the king gate asked Mordecai, why do you disobey the king command? And day after day they kept on asking him that. And they spoke with him, but he refused to comply. So therefore they told him about it to see whether Mordecai's behavior, would change. They were not tolerated. So his behavior did not change. So they took the next action, what they had wanted to do, but he had told them he was a Jew. So his attitude would not change. And we see that Mordecai still refused to bow down before him. Jews didn't bow down to government authorities to sign or respect. Haman's ancestor was the ancestor enemy of Jews. So Israel had been commanded by God to block out the name of Ammonites from under heaven. Mordecai was not about to kneel before a wicked Haman, but by his act of knowledge, Haman as a God, small G God, this God with a small G. Now we have to worship God alone and not other gods. See, God don't want us to worship other gods. He wants us to deal with Him first, not nobody else. So Ammonites with Esau sons, but they went their own way, and that's why there was a battle against their own family. They all kin. And they said when they got out of Egypt, they all went there separated because God did told, Esau and Jacob was twins. God did say they're supposed to be two nations. And trust me, he created his own nation, But when Haman saw that Mordecai would not kneel down, or pay him honor, he was engaged with yet having learned who Mordecai's people was. Did not know who his people was. Did not know too much about Mordecai either. So Haman's idea was killing only Mordecai. Instead Haman had looked for ways to destroy, all Mordecai people, the Jews, throughout the whole kingdom. Azazus, that's the name of the king. And so he didn't, when he found out, you see what it was, he was so angry, with Mordecai because he did not bow down, and he didn't have any say on Mordecai. And see, that's how it is today. They will keep on digging and digging until they found something. He still didn't find them, but he just found out who he was, and who he don't like, and that will make him more angry. So when he found out he was a Jew, and all his people was, because at first he was just going to destroy Mordecai. So he found out who he was and who his people was, And so Haman was so angry. Now he didn't, know who Mordecai was at first, So he started out, start digging more into his life, And since he found out he was a Jew, and first he was going to kill only Mordecai, but then he wanted to destroy him and killing him and his people. Haman the Ammonites, was an enemy of the Jews. So why did Haman want to destroy all the Jews? Just because of one man action. That you got to just be evil. One man action. You decide that you want to kill the whole nation, because of who they are. So he was a king of the Ammonites. Hated was directed not just at Mordecai, but at all the Jews. Haman loved his power, and authority. So Haman realized that the only way he could fulfill his self-centered, desires, was to kill those who disregarded his authority. So he using his power. Some people use their power. He using his power, because they disregard. And Mordecai was not paying him no attention. And he meant he wasn't going to bow down to him. So his personal power and his hatred of the Jews consumed him. When you have so much hatred in you, that's going to consume you. While that person still walking around smiling, enjoying life, you still going to consume your whole body because you angry with someone. You got built up hatred in you. By somebody not even worried about you and they just living their life. So now we have the background why Haman wants to impale Mordecai and kill all his Jews. Now we have the background of why he wanted to kill Mordecai and all the Jews. Because the background history is that Haman is an Ammonite and Mordecai is a Jew. So back in the day, they did not like each other. They always at each other. So pretty much when he found out who Mordecai's background was, he just had anger and hatred just built up in him. So now we're going to talk about Mordecai pursued Esther to help. So now, Haman put debt on his life, and now Esther, he going to go to Esther for help. So after Esther, she came in as being a beauty queen, just not knowing that God had sent her there to be a beauty queen just for this moment right here. Sometimes God will sit you in a place, to get you started for his plan, and she probably don't realize she was part of God's plan. You sit there thinking you're going to be a beauty queen for life, but you sit there for a reason for this case right here, because she also a Jew. She also is an Israelite. This one going to come from Esther chapter 4, verse 1 through 17. So now Haman plot to destroy, Mordecai and all the Jews. And now the Jews is the Israelite. And that's God's people. So God is not going to let that happen. That's why he placed this purpose on Esther. He picked Esther, to handle this case here. God is involved in this here in the back scene, by behind the scene. Because it's the Israelite. He's not gonna let Haman kill all his people. So Mordecai had to persuade Esther to help to save our people. But first, Mordecai trying to take everything in. He's trying to take everything in right now. So he's not really going to her right now, because he's trying to take all this in. He more concerned of his people than himself. Because he know they all came from the same place. They went through a mighty long way, from being slave for 400 years and then come out, to have someone to kill all his people. He had compassion for his people than himself. So Mordecai learned what all about, he learned about what is about to happen to him, what's gonna be done, and to him and his people. So he got enraged. He tore off his clothes, to rip his clothes all apart, and he's speaking loudly in bitterness. He just angry his own self. He's trying to figure out what he can do to help his people. The first church is to go to Esther. You know, I watched the movie, and a lot of stuff on the movie not even script in the Bible. But like I said, God name not mentioned in the Bible, but it's mentioned in the movie. Now God went to Mordecai in a dream. Went to him in a dream about the things falling down on Esther. The Israelite is getting told down and beat down from somebody. So this wasn't like a surprise to Mordecai because he had the dream. And now he's seeing the dream is playing in place. And the first name he called to help him was Esther because she was in his dream. But he went on it, as far as the king gate. He saw Esther, but he didn't want to get close to her yet. He trying to suck all this in right now. He trying to figure out, he know what Haman wants to do to him and his people. He not worrying about too much about his son. He worrying about how he going to help his people. So he cried with a loud and bitter cry to express his deep sense was coming upon his people. So it would be bravely done publicly to the Jews. So he wants to kill them publicly. So when Esther, Eunice, and female attendant, came and told her about Mordecai, she was in great distress. Now they didn't tell her, what happened. They just told him that he in distress and he ripped off his clothes. So she sent clothes for him to put on instead of his sackcloth, but he would not accept. Sometimes you can be in your pain and suffering, and somebody try to be nice and trying to offer you. So sometimes you're gonna say no. Sometimes you ain't gonna want to be bothered. He trying to suck all this in. All his people about to get destroyed because of him. That's why he taking it so hard, because they about to get destroyed because of him. Because the man so angry with him, he gonna take it out on all his people in him. So he didn't want to accept it. He in his feelings right now. So now, they told Esther that Mordecai in distress and tore his clothes off. So Esther agreed and went to bring him clothes, but he refused, to accept anything from her right now. So now Esther knows something is big is going on. She knows if something is big is going on. Anytime he don't want to accept anything, anytime he gonna stand by the gate and don't want to come close to her, she knows something is big about to happen. So Esther has summoned, Hagna, that's her assistant, one of the king, Eunice, assigned to attend her. So she about to summon someone, to do some little undercover work to find out what's going on with him. So order him to find out what is troubling Mordecai and why. So her servants had went out, to Mordecai in an open square of the city in front of the king's gate. He stood by that gate. He refused to move from that gate because he don't want nobody to see him. Sometimes you in your pain and suffering, you have a different look. And sometimes you don't want to go around nobody. He just want to stay a far distance from Esther. Esther stood by and let her servant go over there to find out what is going on with Mordecai. Mordecai told him everything, that had happened to him, including, exact amount of money Haman had promised to pay into the royal treasury, for the destruction of the Jews. Now he paying someone. He promised to pay someone to help him destroy the Jews. So it also had been punished, in Sasa to show Esther and explain it to her. And he told him to instruct her to go into the king's presence to beg for mercy and plead for him for her people. So he telling Esther, I need you to go to the king and I need you to plead your case to save our people. I don't need you to go in there and talk normal and with a sword, but I need you to go plead for, like you plead for your life, for our people, to save our people. Now he giving her instruction what to go say to the king, So Mordecai give assistant instructor to give to Esther, to make a request, to the king, to make a request to the king, make a request to the king and her people, sanctified, to speedily and urging her request that not the life of a single person, not the life of a single person, but the life of a body of people, in her own, that lay estate. Now Esther has not told king that she is a Jew. He telling her go speak to the king, about helping save their people. But talking about save the people, he gonna wonder what is you talking about. Cause see, she never told him that she is a Jew also. So she needs to plead to him. I need you to save me. I need you to save my people. I'm sorry, I never told you I'm a Jew, but I'm telling you not. So she got to think about how she gonna tell him who she are, what is her background. Now she got to tell her background to him, So now she have to let the king know about her background first, And sometimes when you get married, it's the best thing is to let everything out on the table. She didn't let everything on the table, but she only would follow instruction what her cousin told her to do, not tell no one. But I'm advising anyone, if you get married, it's best for you to lay everything out on the table, before you get married. Because down the line, you're going to have a situation like this, or worse, and then in the mix of the chaos, then you got to tell them, look, I'm sorry. I ain't tell you at the beginning, but I need to let you know about my family background. So now in the mix of this chaos, she got to let him know about her background. So everything, you need to put everything at the table at the beginning before you get married. So now he reported it back to Esther, but 30 days had passed. Now he done told her this 30 days ago. Now he said this needs to be speedily, but this ain't speedily. 30 days have passed. And she's scared and frightened because she ain't told him about her background yet. So she's trying to figure out how she gonna tell him what's going on, but she got to tell him her background first. So she let 30 days pass. Now Mordecai told her 30 days ago to go tell the king, speak to the king. So since I was called to go to the king, now Esther got news 30 days ago, but she have not went to the king yet. Hell nah. And I'm surprised she don't realize she missing. She supposed to get married. You supposed to come home every night. So it been 30 days. She ain't go home yet to meet the king. So Esther ordered all the king officials and the people of the royal princess know that for her, any man or woman who approached the king in an ankle coat without being summoned, the king had but one law, that they be put to death unless the king attended a gold scaper to them and spare their life. Now 30 days had passed. Esther trying to get her mind together and not owning a request to save her people, but she never told him that she was a Jew. Now she saying, now she preparing the way. So she telling them, don't have nobody to approach the king. If they approach the king without being summoned, she said, put him to death. So it's like she needs the time and space, the privacy, and everything else to talk to the king. So Esther risked her life, by coming before the king. Remember, she placed that order. Is anybody come there without placing an appointment, there will be summoned to death. So her encouragement act give us a model to follow in a portion. A difficult, dangerous text. Now she dealing with a dangerous. She's supposed to be a beauty queen. But God got her in that position, because God knows she can handle it. God put her in that position, to take care of this situation here. Now, this is a difficult, dangerous situation that she about to get into, So the following procedure Esther did, the following procedure she did, she calculated the cost. Now, Esther realized her life was at stake. She realized her life was at stake. Because remember, she didn't tell Mordecai no. She just jumped and wants to help and do this because it's not just her people, it's her too. So too, she set priority that she believed that the safety of the Jewish people was more important than her life. And that's the way Monica was. She both of them, they're like the people life is more important than their own life. You know, so three, she had to prepare herself. It took her 30 days to prepare herself to try to get to the king because she have not told the king her background history, and then she got to turn around and tell him, could you save and help save my people? So afterwards was what reported to Mordecai, that he sent back his answer. Now he letting her know. Now she took a long time. She still ain't speak to the king yet. 30 days now passed. So now Monica feel like she getting scared now. She getting cold feet now. Now she haven't talked to the king yet. He told her speedily, that you got to talk to the king. And she wait 30 days and have not speak to the king yet. So he said he letting her know, do not think, that because you are in a king's house, you alone that all the Jews will escape. Now, he letting her know, just because you in a king's house, when them people come to try to attack your people, trust me, they're gonna attack you too. So he also let her know, if you remain silent, at this time, relief and deliverance, for, the Jews, our people, arise from another place. But you and your father, your family will perish, and who knows, but that you have come to your position for such a time like this. Now he letting her know, this is your position. He letting you know God gave you the position. Remember, he saw the dream. He saw the dream where Esther was in it, standing in the middle, like she directing that whole stone. So he said, don't you be silenced. You taking a long time, 30 days. You supposed to been have this going on. So he like your world position, for such a time like this. Let her know that this is your position. We don't need you to sit down and be silent. We need you to ask the king for help. So after the decree to kill the Jews was given, Mordecai and Esther could decide to save themselves. So when Mordecai found out about this, when Esther found out about this, if they wasn't so concerned about the Jews, their people, they could have just saved themselves. And whatever happened to them, whatever. But they wasn't that kind of people. They weren't that kind of people. So they had so much feeling and compassion for their people. They was more concerned about them than their own life. So they could have waited. Now they could have saved themselves. Or they could have waited for God to step in and intervene. But instead they saw that God had placed them in that position for a purpose. So they seized the moment and asked. They realized, especially Monica, he saw the dream. So when is our passion, to save, or what we doing, we must do so even in life-threatening situation. They're in life-threatening situation. And Monica still trying to encourage us, still trying to push her, even though we in this kind of situation, in this time, you in the position, to help our people. So when we find in us, saving and helping others, with deep passion, act on and pray to God. I know you saying, what about me? You know, but I have found three passion, you know, of my position. You know, I do um the news. I do the news and take care of people issue. That's something I stumble on, and then they say, okay, that's one of your purpose. You know, and I started putting that out with the missing people. Had compassion, and found out that was one of my purpose. Divine, a missing divine. You know, um, they told me I was anointed and stuff. So I had stumbled on three of my passion of my position. So then they told me, you know, that was my position, my main. But I still have my main purpose I'm trying to get to. So um, pain and suffering, spiritual warfare. Sometimes it can distract you on your focus. You know, so so um so God is the only one can direct us into our purpose. Or sometimes you can stumble on across, with passion. If you doing something with passion, you constantly keep on doing, that's your purpose. Mordecai realized that was Esther's purpose. You know, they had passion. When you got passion for what you're doing and you constantly doing, that's your purpose. Mordecai realized, this is your position at a time like this. They both had passion. They both had passion of the same thing, and they both had passion for something without worrying about. They worry about their passion before they sell. So they worry about their people better than themselves. So God placed Esther, placed there for this time like this here. And God do things in order. He had somebody come to Monica and say, oh, they got a passion going on, a beautiful passion going on. The king looking for a queen, and Monica know he raising his cousin that she's beautiful. That was all part of God's plan. To get her where he needed her to be at, for when a situation drop in her lap, she'll be able to be in position to take care of it. So I guess in the mix of my stone, I will land just where God need me to be at. A time, in the mix, and the pretty much, and always be like in a mix of the chaos. That's when you'll find your purpose. That's what I found my three of them. In the mix of so much chaos. Esther in the mix of the chaos. She landed in her position, to take care of this situation like this here for a time like this. So when the time is right, I will feel it. For my main purpose that I'm still looking for. When the time is right, I will feel it, because you will have passion. You always gonna have passion for your purpose. God's not gonna give you something that you're not. Because I love to do what I'm doing with the three passions that I had found. He's not gonna give you something that you're not gonna have passion for. So remember, Mordecai had told Esther, just because you're a queen, and in that house, protect. She think because she a queen, she being protected. But when they kill our people, they'll get you too. That's why he told her, don't be silenced. I need you to move. I need you to take action. Because when all is said and done, at the end of the day, when they get our people, they're going to get you too. It doesn't matter, because you're a queen and you under a king and think you're going to be protected. So Mordecai also told her, don't be silenced. On this matter, we have to act now. So although Esther, was the queen, and shared some of the king power and wealth, she still needed God protection. See, the spiritual, protection is what is better. See, that's what Mordecai's saying. It doesn't matter how powerful the king is. It don't matter how you is a queen and you was in that palace and you got all kind of armor around it. Think you protected. The best protection you can have is God protection. So that's what Monica said. Still need God protection. And wisdom. No one is secure in his or her own strength, in any political system. It is foolish to believe that wealth or position can make us, to danger. Deliverance and safety come only from God. So when you in the presence of God, that's when you're supposed to just feel safe, and not worry, not too much, not worry about it. But Esther, she was in a place like she wasn't worrying about it. I'm safe. You only supposed to make those statements if you in God protection. Not because you in man. No man can protect you better than God can. So deliverance and safe come only from God. So God is not specifically mentioned in the book of Esther, but it's obvious that Mordecai expect a divine deliverance. See, he worked and was based on God. He said God got you in this position right here. So even though God's name wasn't mentioned, his presence still filled the pages. You still realize that this is all God doing. His name wasn't mentioned, but still his name was filled with the pages. Because you can still see this was God working. She had become to be a queen, and then next thing you know, she got this situation coming. That's all God doing. God doing. She just got in position of a queen, and now she got this position in a time like this, and this is a dangerous, difficult situation that life, her life and a people life is depend on this. So it took her 30 days to try to get to the king. Because we don't know if she was scared, she was frightened, but Monica had to let her know, this ain't no time for you to be silent. This ain't no time. This been 30, I told you this 30 days ago. You ain't get this started yet. So he tried to encourage her, don't be silent. Don't think because you in that palace that you is safe. He letting you know the only deliverance and safe that you can be is under God care. She taking the silence, because she feel like I'm in this palace. I'm a queen. They're not gonna come in here and do this. That was she thought. And Monica had to tell her. So Esther believed in God care, and because they act at the right time. God used them to save his people. Because the Jews is the Israelite. That's God people. So the Jews is the Israelite God people that have how we know that God was working. That's how we know that God was working behind the scene. Knowing the way, God is not going to interfere on his own people. He placed that in Esther. He placed that dream in Mordecai. God put all this in motion. His name don't have to be mentioned. His name and work speak for itself. So when we face challenges in life, to seek to know, what God wants, us to do, they both step out on faith, with confidence. Because Esther did not say no. She didn't jump and, she had to prepare her mind, but she jumped into what she had to do. So we don't know ahead of time of how he will accomplish, his will, but God is the only one can guide us through it. Nobody else. When God got a plan for you, nobody but him can get you through it. Nobody else can. So then Esther has sent this reply to Mordecai. Go gather, together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me Do not eat or drink anything for 3 days, night and day. So now she got to get spiritual. She got to get spiritual. She took her 30 days. She still haven't speak to the king yet. She let the 30 days pass. And so now she done spoke to, send a message to Monica. You know, go to our people. Speak to them. Let them know to fast for 3 days. Don't eat or drink. And she gonna see them. So Esther in her attendance, but fast as you do, So she's saying y'all fast, I'm gonna fast right along with y'all, So now they going on a spiritual fast for 3 days, And when this is done, I will go to the king. See, she got to get spiritual, because she have not told the king, that she's a Jew, and then she need him to. So she don't know how he gonna take this. She don't know if he gonna take that she's a Jews and then turn around and help people. She don't know how he gonna take this. So she going on a spiritual fast. Not eating, not drinking, and praying. So even though it's against the law, and if I perish, I perish. She talking about her own order that she placed. Because you got to make an appointment, to see the king. And if you don't make an appointment, they're going to put you to death. So Mordecai had went away, and carried out all Esther, instruction. Remember, he got to go to their people, let them know to fast for 3 days, no eating and drinking. So the law that she is talking about is what she had put in place herself. So if a man or woman approach the king without being summoned, will be put to death. So now she about to approach the king without making an appointment. So that's why she said, if I perish, I perish. So that's why she made perish, because she is about to approach the king without a request. So God had placed a man in heart, put in a man in heart to meet with Mordecai. All this was placed in order. That they have it. They have a beauty queen position open. And Mordecai, introduced Esther to enter the brood of passion, and God needed Esther to be in position to save his people. So all this, you can see the blueprint of this. This is God doing. So God put that man, put it in his heart to go meet Mordecai, to let him know they got an opening for a beauty passion. He know his cousin is pretty, so he introduced Esther to enter the beauty passion. She entered the beauty passion. That was a way for God to get her in the position that he needed her to be in. So God would use people to get his plan started. He would use people to get his plan started. Just like God had used Joseph brothers. God used Joseph's brothers to throw him in a pit, to get him sold to Egypt. It's where God needed Joseph to be at. See, God will have people to push you sometime in your position. So where you need to be at, God touched his brothers. That's why God always said, don't get mad with them. I did that. I put it in their heart, to throw you in that pit. I put it in their heart to sell you, and to carry you all to Egypt. That's what I need you at. Sometimes he will push to get things started just to have you in that position where he wants you at. That's why when Joseph's brothers did recognize, Joseph had told his brother who he was. And they was crying, they were bowing down, there was everything. Joseph told them, do not get mad, do not cry. I'm not mad, but God needs y'all to do what y'all did to put me where I need to be. He said, I'm right where God want me to be at. Because see, he was a young boy, 17 years old. God put them dreams up in him. He didn't know what it mean. He didn't know what me until he went to Egypt. Everything started falling into place, and he was like, "Oh, okay. I saw that was in a dream. Okay, I see this. That was in my dream." And when the brothers came, when they said bow down, he was talking about the birds and all that kind of stuff. He didn't know what all that mean. When the brothers came and saw Joseph, they didn't know who Joseph was, but guess what? What they did, they bowed down. When Joseph told them about the dream that they had bowed down, so the brother was like, we're not gonna bow down to you. But what they came in there, the first thing they did was bow down. Then Joseph looked up and he realized, that was part of his dream, that his brother was gonna bow down to him. But God used the brothers to get Joseph what he needed him to be at. It's the same thing what he did with Esther. He placed her as a beauty queen, in a place, in a right position, in place where God needed her to be at. So when a situation would drop in her lap, God touched, her heart to act. That's why she didn't say no. God touched her heart to act, and she act. She act on it. She saved her people. The Israelite was the Jews. And when we have that feeling, we have to act on it. And I would do the same thing. I would do the same thing when that time come for me. When that time come for me. Because I'm still waiting also. I'm waiting also. It's a lot of time. God not going to give us instruction all the time of what our purpose is. Sometimes we can stumble, like I stumbled on the 3 purpose right there. Sometimes you stumble on your purpose. When you have that passion for what you're doing and you constantly keep on doing, that's a purpose that God placed in you. I know a lot of celebrities, constantly doing political work and stuff. That's when they realize that's my purpose. So when you got passion, your purpose, you're going to always have passion for it. You're not going to have a purpose that you don't like to do what you're doing. Because you're not going to want to do it if you ain't got passion for it. So this is a background that we get into why Haman wants to empower Mordecai. Because Haman is an Ammonite and Mordecai is a Jew. And we see that Esther was a beauty queen, but she was set there for a purpose. She thinks she's going to be a beauty queen for life, but she was set there for a purpose, because the Jews is the Israelite, that's God's people. So he was going to have someone to save them. He wasn't going to not sit there and let his people, get destroyed. So that's the story on that. And we also had talk about Miss Willis. She expert on what she is doing. And she is not to be messed with. She on top of her games. Doing her job. So now we see, she on top of her game. Development multiple, involvement. And she special is getting on Jim job. She wrote written a letter. So she doing everything in print. In print what she's supposed to be doing. And doing it as a professional in a professional way. So that's all the news and words that I have for you on tonight. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see y'all on the next video.